From Kuala Lumpur, the Global News Podcast, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. The BBC Global News Podcast's presenter Jackie Leonard and producer Karen Martin spoke at Radio Days Asia in Malaysia. The show, which is also recording a special edition at the event, as I record this, is one of the top-rated shows in many Asian countries with 33 million downloads a month. Unusually, the BBC shared daily download data, the show's audience profile, and a comparison to other podcasts from World Service English. You'll find those linked from our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Tomorrow at the conference, there's a full podcasting track. Pod the North, a Canadian podcast newsletter, launches today, run by Katie Law. It aims to put Canadian podcasts on the map. Streaming services need to stop showing me the same ad over and over and over, says David Pearce in The Verge, a tech website, which suggests there's a parallel with some podcast ads too. And Acast, a podcast hosting and monetization company, has partnered with El Podcast de Cristina Mitre, a Spanish health and beauty podcast that gets more than 500,000 listens a month. There's a press release that you can read in our show notes and our newsletter in Spanish and in English, and Acast launched in Spain in March. And in the Earbuds Podcast Collective this week, 5 podcast episodes about books and reading. Go and subscribe at earbuds.audio. And in podcast news, a brand new 7-part podcast miniseries about the lived experience of Parkinson's disease. The Parkinson's Disease Podcast is brand new today from Health Unmuted. It's a short format narrative miniseries that shares important insights and information for the millions of people affected by this condition. Unladylike returns today from Starburst Audio, a feminist lifestyle podcast. It's hosted by Kristen Conger. Today's episode looks at how white Christian women have played a formative role in America's conspiracy culture. And from KSL Podcasts and Lemonada Media, The Letter is a true crime series that follows the tragic events that sent shockwaves through a community and the shocking twist that followed. It's new today, and there's a trailer coming up. And we thank Lemonada Media for their support this month. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.
Lemonada.
It was, it shook the community.
It was brutal. It was violent. It was senseless.
It was a choice that changed everything.
This man has taken so much away from us. We can't even call him a person if he's an animal.
A random act of violence.
You know, we had 2 young kids doing an innocent thing.
2 teenage kids doing what teenage kids do.
In a place in the mountains where everybody in the community went from time to time.
Every parent's nightmare. Every parent's nightmare.
Investigators say the 19-year-old told them he decided to randomly shoot 2 teens while they were taking pictures. The attack killed Zachary Snar and critically wounded his best friend, Yvette Rodier, both 18 years old.
That's the story people heard on the news. The nightmare. And we've come to expect every painful element of this kind of tragedy.
When you have that much hatred and anger in you, you become that. You are angry and hateful.
I've destroyed myself and everybody around me.
But no one expected what came decades later. I'm journalist Amy Donaldson, and I've spent my career talking about how lives are undone by violence. This is a story of how they are remade.
There must be a reason I'm here, right? I need to do something.
From the wreckage, a survivor rewrites the story of her life.
Once I lived and I'm coming out into society, I have all the cards. I have all the choices.
For devastated parents, it's about healing, change, and something no one saw coming. The possibility of redemption.
She says, well, he wants to give you a letter. And I just looked at her and I said, I've waited 22 years for that letter.
From KSL Podcasts, Lemonada, and Workhouse Media. The Letter.
Sometimes I thought, there are no miracles. Yeah, there are. And this is a big one.